Hello, welcome back to my channel. My name is Juan Carlos Monsalve. Today is October 20th, 2023. At the time of this recording, it's 12:21 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you for watching my videos. I like the casino table game of Baccarat that I have been studying for quite some time, and I decided to share some of my findings about the game. Please use this information to test your own strategies and create new ones. The scorecards are available in my website, juancarlosmonsalve.com. Please give my video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, ask me any questions in the comments section, share the videos with others. And if you would like to support my channel, you can do it by going to buymeacoffee.com /Juan Carlos Monsalve. Today is video number 8. Um, I have the scorecard in front of me, the one that I use. I use a spreadsheet where I record the game and different ways that anyone can record the games while they are playing, like every two hands, every three, four, five, six, 7, 8, 9, 10, or 11. There are many ways that you can write down the game while you are at the casino. To start, we start burning one card. In this case, is the 10 of hearts. So I need to burn that card plus 10 more. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I write down the card that I'm burning here, 10 of hearts. And then we will continue with the first hand of this shoe. I use 8 decks on this shoe. It gives us between 75 to 80 hands that we play. P is equal 1 or blue, banker equal -1 or red, and ties are T equal 0 or yellow. I use these numbers just to be able to do math. When I'm done with collecting some data of games, I can add, subtract, those kind of things to be able to create the strategies. So first hand today, first card player, banker, player, banker. We have a 5 on the player side. We get a third card, and we get a 0. So that 5 remains at 5, and banker doesn't get any more cards, so it's a 7. So the first card is, the first hand is a banker. We see here on the top, it says total hands 1, and bankers 1, 0 players, 0 dice. We go for the second hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. I have a 0 player and banker 4. So the third card for player is a 9. So player 9, and the banker 4, we only hit the third card if we get something from 4 to 7. So no more cards. So banker remains at 4. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. We have two naturals, 8 player and 9 banker. Two natural, one natural 8, natural 9. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. We have a 0 player and 3 banker. We get a third card for player, and we have a 0. So player remains at 0, and banker gets the third card, and the third card is a 0. So it remains at 3. 0 player, Three banker. We have two bankers in a row. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. We have a seven player and stands, and banker the third card. It's a seven. So we have the first side of this shoe, 7-7. We have a total of five hands, three bankers, one player. We continue. Okay, next hand. First card player, banker, player, banker. We have a natural nine player and zero banker. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. We have another tie, two naturals. Natural eight player, natural eight banker. We have a total of seven hands, three bankers, two players, and two ties. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. Third card for player is zero, so that player remains one. And banker, we don't get any more cards as we get a zero. Um, so no more cards for banker. So banker remains at five. That was a banker hand. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker, player seven and stands, and banker gets a third card and it gets a one for a total of four. So 7-4. That was a player hand. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. We have six player and stands, and we get a third card for banker, and the third card is a seven. So six player, seven banker. That was a banker hand. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. We have a two player and banker. We have a five. We need to get a third card for player, and we have a nine. And that reduces player one. And we have a five on the banker side. We only hit if we get 4-7. So banker remains at five. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. The first card, the first hand, excuse me, first player, six and stands, and banker we have a one, and he gets a third card, and the third card is a two. That means that banker is a three total, and six player. So that was a player hand. Next hand, player, banker, player, banker. We have a player four and banker two. I need to get a third card for both of them. Player, this four goes to nine, and the third card for banker is a zero. So it remains two. 9-2. Uh, Player won that one. Next hand, first card player, first card banker, second card player, second card banker. I have a seven player and a natural nine banker. So natural nine banker, we have total of 14 hands, seven bankers, five players, two ties. Next hand, first card player, first card banker, second card player, second card banker. I have a player two and banker five. I need a third card for player, and he gets a four for a total of six. And a five I only hit a 5 if I get 4 to 7. I have a 4, so I need to get a third card for banker, and it's a 0. So banker remains 5. 6, 5. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. I have a 1 and 2. One player, banker 2. I need to get a third card for both of them. This player 1 plus 8 that goes to 9, and banker I have a 2 and 6 is 8. So 2 plus 6 8. So that was a player hand 9, banker 8. So two players in a row. We have 16 hands, 7 bankers, 7 players, 2 ties. First card player, banker, player, banker. I have a natural 9 player. That's another player hand, and banker we have 1. 9 1. Next hand, first card player, first card banker, player, banker. I have a 4 player and 9 banker. So this is a natural 9 banker. Next hand, first card player, first card banker, second card player, second card banker. I have a 7 and 3. 7 player in stands and 3 banker. I need to get third card for banker, and I have a 7 plus 3. It goes down to 0. 7 0 player won that hand. If you look at every 4, we have 3 players in a row and 3 bankers in a row. Let's see what's going to be next. First card for player, banker, player, banker. I have a 6 player on his hands, and banker I have a 0. I get a third card and I get a 1. So 6 1. A player won that hand. You see they stay the same every 4. The 4 row is 3 players in a row. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. I have a natural 8 player and 0 banker. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. I have a natural 9 banker, 6 player. Natural 9 banker, that was a banker hand. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. I have a banker 7 on stands, and I need a third card for player. So 2, the third card player is a 2 plus 4 is a 6 player, and banker 7. That was a banker hand. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. I have a natural 8 player and 6 banker. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. 6 player and 2 banker. 6 player and stands, and banker gets a third card, and the third card is a 0, so it remains 2. 6 2, that was a player hand. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. First card player, we have 1 player, and the third card is an 8 for a total of 9 player. And banker remains at 5 since the third card for player was an 8. So no more card for banker, and that was a player hand. We had three players in a row. Next hand, first card player, first card banker, second card player, second card banker. Have a six player and natural nine banker. That was a banker hand. Next hand, first card player, first card banker, player, banker. I have a zero player and six banker. I need a third card for player. I have a four. So four player and these six. I don't get any more cards for banker. So banker remains at six. Two bankers in a row. Next hand, first card player, first card banker, player, banker, seven player and stands, and banker gets a third card, and the third card is a zero. So it remains four. Seven, four, that was a player hand. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. Three and four. Three player, four banker. I need a third card for player, and the third card is a zero. And because I have a zero third card player, I don't get any more cards for banker. So three, four, three, four. That was a banker hand. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. I have one player and banker three. I need a third card for player, and I have a one. So player goes to two, and banker gets the third card, and the third card is a zero. So it remains at two. Two player, three banker. That was another banker hand. Next hand, first card player, first card banker, second card player, second card banker. I have a three player and two banker. I need a third card for player and banker. So I have a seven plus three. It goes to zero player, and banker gets a third card, and the third card is a five for a total of seven. Okay, three bankers in a row. So we have right now 32 hands, 15 bankers, 15 players, and two ties. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. I have one player, and banker is a five. I need to get a third card for player, and have a zero because I have a zero third card on player. The one remains at one, and we don't get any more card for banker, so it remains five. So another banker hand. Now banker went ahead by one hand. Next hand, first card for player, banker, player, banker. I have a natural eight player and banker two. So that was a player hand. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. I have a zero player and banker. I have a natural nine. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. I have a natural nine banker. Two player, natural nine banker. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. I have a three on the player side, and I have a five on the banker side. So I need to get a third card for player, and I have a two. So it goes to five, and this five, I only hit the five if I get anything from four to seven. So no more cards for banker. So that banker remains at 5, 5, 5. So that was another tie. That's the third tie of the shoe. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. I have a six player and stands, and banker have a six and stand. So there is another tie. Six, six. So two ties in a row for a total of four. Four ties in this shoe. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. I have a natural eight player and three banker. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. I have a two on the player side and six on the banker side. I need to get a third card for player, and I have a zero. So player two and banker six, because I have a zero third card on player. I don't get any more cards for banker. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. I have seven player and natural nine banker. Seven, nine banker. Two bankers in a row. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. I have two on the player side and zero on the banker side. I need to get a third card for both of them. These two plus eight goes down to zero, and banker, the third card is a six. So banker won that hand, zero, six, and we have three bankers in a row. Next hand, first card player, first card banker, second card player, second card banker. I have a six player and stands and five on the banker side. I need to get a third card for banker. And the third card is a six. So six plus five is gonna be one. So six player and one banker. So that was a player hand. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. I have a one on the player side and banker. I have five. So the third card for player is a zero. So one player and we don't get any more cards for banker. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. I have a six on the player side and stands, and I have one on the banker side. I need to get a third card for banker, and I have a nine. So that one goes down to zero. So 6-0 player on this hand. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. I have a player, have a seven and stands, and banker get a third card, and the third card is a nine. So this two goes down to one. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. I have a natural eight banker, and player is three. 3-8. So that was a banker hand. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. I have a six player in stands, and banker have a zero, and he gets the third card, and the third card is a nine. So six player, nine banker, and that was a banker hand. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. Player 1 and banker 7. I need to get a third card for player, and the third card is a 0. So the 1 on player remains 1, 7, banker, no more cards for banker. Next hand. First card player, banker, player, banker. That's a 0 player and natural 9 banker. That's the fourth banker in a row. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. Have a natural 9 player and 3 banker. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. I have two natural 9s. 9 player, 9 banker. So that is another tie. This is the fifth tie of the shoe. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. I have 3 on the player side and 1 on the banker side. I need to get a third card for both of them. The 3 goes down to 0 because I have a 7 third card. So it goes down to 0, and banker gets the third card, and the third card is a 0. So it remains 1. So that was a banker hand. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. Player have a 5, and on the banker side we have a 0. I need to get a third card for both of them. So the 5 on player remains at 5, and the banker gets a third card and it's another 0. So it remains 0. So that was a player hand. Next hand, first card player, first card banker, second card player, second card banker. I have a natural 9 banker and natural 9 player and 6 banker. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. I have a 5 player and natural. Okay, this one is a 5 player and natural 8 banker. I 8. Okay, next hand. First card player, banker, player, banker. Player is 4 and banker 5. The third card for player is 0. So it remains, player remains at 4, and banker, no more cards for banker. So total banker is 5. That was a banker hand. 4, 5. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. I have 5 and 5. So I need to get a third card for player, and I have a 0. So the 5 remains at 5, and the 5 banker, we don't get any more cards since we got a 0 third card for banker, excuse me, for player. So that is another tie. This number 6 of the 2. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, Banker, I have a 2. Okay, we continue with the hand number 59. We have a 0. On the player side, at the third card, we don't get any more cards for banker. So it remains a 2 player, 5 banker. Next hand, we have player, banker, player, banker. I have a 2 player, and the third card is a 1. So total of 3, and banker I have a 3, and it gets a third card, and the third card is a 9, so it reduces to 2. So that was a player's hand, 3, 2. Next hand, first card player, first card banker, second card player, banker. I have 3 player, banker 2. I need to get a third card for both of them. So player goes down to 0, and banker gets a third card and it's at 0. So it remains 2. 0, 2, that was a banker hand. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. I have a natural 8 player. Banker gets a 2. Since we have a natural 8, we don't get any more cards. That was a player hand. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. Now the natural 8 is for banker. We have a 2 player and natural 8 banker. We have the last 5 has been chop. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. This one was a 7 player and 6 banker. No card for either one of the two. The chop continues. Next card, first card player, banker, player, banker. Now after 6 chop, we have two national nines, national 9 player, national 9 banker for a tie. This is a tie number 7 of this shoe. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. Player gets a natural 8 and banker 4. That was a player hand. Next hand, player, banker, player, banker. I have 1 on the player side and 0 on the banker side. I need to get a third card for both of them. The player remains at 1 since we get a third card 0. And the third card for banker is another 0. So we have 1, 0. That was a player hand. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. I have player 7 and it stands, and banker gets a third card and it gets an 8. So 7 player, 8 banker. Next card player, banker, player, banker. I have a 6 player and it stands, and banker gets a third card and he gets a 6. So it goes to 9. So 6 player and 9 banker. 2 bankers in a row. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. Then the third card for player is a 0, so it remains 1. And because I have a 0 third card on player, we don't get any more cards for banker, so it remains at 6. We stay 6. We have three bankers in a row. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. The player gets a third card and the banker gets a third card. So I have a player, I have five, and banker gets five. So it's a tie hand. Five, five. This is tie number eight of the entire shoe. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. I have two on the player side, and banker, I have one. I need to get a third card for both of them. The player goes up to six, and banker that has one, and the third card is a zero. That means that it remains at one. So that was a player hand. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. I have two on the player side, and banker have two. I need to get a third card for player and banker. So the player remains at two since we got a zero. And banker, the third card is a five, so it takes the two to seven. So two, seven. That was a banker hand. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. I have four on the player side, and banker I have a two, so I need to get a third card for player and banker. I have a zero player on the player side, so it remains at four. And banker gets a third card and it's a one, so it goes up to three. That was a player hand, four, three. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. Next card for player is a zero, so it remains zero. And banker, the third card is a zero, so it remains one. Zero, one. That was a banker hand. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. Player has a two, and banker has a four. I need to get a third card for player and have a one, so it goes to three. And banker with a four, I only hit the third card if I get something from two to seven. Because I have a one, I don't get any more cards for banker, so banker is a four. So three, four. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. I have zero player and banker has a one, so I need to get a third card for both of them. I have a two on the player. Zero plus two is two, and banker I have a one. I have a cut card, so after this hand I will get another one, one more hand. The third card for banker is a zero, so yeah, that's a total of or remains at one. So that was a player hand, two, one. And now we're gonna play the last hand of the shoe. Next hand, first card player, banker, player, banker. I have a natural eight player and three banker. So that was another player hand. This is the end of the shoe with 78 hands. This is the cut card, and remove the rest, the remainder of the cards of this shoe. And we go over the different scorecards. I see here four bankers on this shoe on row 11, four and then three players. I see three bankers in a row here, three players in a row. On 1 to 10, I see row number 9, four players in a row. Um, on this one, every nine, I have three, six, seven bankers in a row, four bankers in a row, three players in a row. Every eight, I have four bankers in a row, four bankers in a row. Um, every seven, I see this banker here, three, six, seven bankers in a row. Every six, I see five bankers in a row here, four players in a row here. Every five, five players in a row here, four bankers in a row. Every four, I see here six bankers in a row here, four bankers in a row here, six players in a row here. Um, six bankers, four bankers here. Every three, here is four players, four bankers here, seven bankers here. That's every three. And every two, I see four bankers in a row here, four players in a row here. There are so many ways that you can write down the game. You can use this as a reference to see if you see some patterns. If you compare these scorecards with the other scorecards that I have them available in my website, juancarlosmonsalve.com. I place them there for your review, for your reference. So this is the end of the show. I appreciate for you to listen to my videos, to watch my videos. If you like what I do, you can give it a thumbs up. You can subscribe to my channel. You can ask me any questions on those comments. You can to the comments. You can ask me questions. And if you want to support my channel, you can also do that by going to buymeacoffee.com backslash Juan Carlos Monsalve. Again, thank you for watching this video. Thank you, and I will see you on the next one. Thank you.